Hi, what's up, yo? Whoa. Yeah, I'm Jenn Gotzon, and this is part of the series, Getting Started as an Actor. All right, you ready? So what does an actor need? We need headshots, resume, demo reel, online profiles, and with all of those, that's how you're able to submit and get a job. So let's talk about resume. Okay, so here is an example of a resume. So you've got your agency listed up here, film, television, theater, training, skills. All right, so let's talk a little bit about your agency. Now, if you have an agent, you're going to put their logo, their name, phone number, email, address up in this area. Now, if you don't have an agent, like so many of us don't, and I haven't had an agent, or I should say I have had an agent all of my journey, but God provided my jobs. So a lot of times people reached out directly to me, and then I connected them with my agent to negotiate the work. So in this case, say you don't have an agent, I would encourage you to create an email that is only for your business and allow them to email you. This allows you to keep safety and protection in this crazy world, because a lot of times you don't know who you're meeting, especially when you're starting out and you don't have an agent to protect you. If you put your cell phone number or your home number, with the technology, they can trace you and find out where you live, and that could open up doors to something maybe you're not interested. Open up a Gmail account. Create a Gmail email for you that's specifically for your acting career. Use your first name and your last name in that email. It allows the casting director and producer to remember who it is, versus if your email is like sillycat512, they may not remember your name, and then they're like, oh, what is Sarah's name? What is her email? And so if you have Sarah, actor, blah, 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 or, Sarah's first name, last name, then that allows the person to go, oh, I want to contact Sarah such and such, type in her email, and it comes up. Gotcha? Check. Alrighty, so that's where you'll put the contact information. So now let's talk about the credits. So feature film. You have 3 columns that are completely in line with each other. You could create your resume in Word document and then use the tab to create the different columns. You're going to put the name of the film in this column. The middle column is going to be the type of role. Is it a lead, supporting, day player, featured, principal? This is where you classify that information. In films, do not include the name of the character, because most people have no idea what that name of that character is and what role that person played. So just use the words lead, supporting, principal, or featured. And then in this column, you're going to list the director's name. Put DIR for director, period, and then their name. Okay, so what I've done is I've put in the film column the name of the project in capital letters, and then the lead and supporting, and then the director. I have my films on my resume listed by when they were last filmed and coming out. Now, I've been in the industry for a little bit of time, and so I have some movies that are about to be released and some that are still, that have come out. And then, so I've created things called partial list, and then releasing 2015. So now let's say you've got awards. What you're going to do is you're going to put an asterisk next to where you may have received an award. And then down below the name of the films, you then put the asterisk and list the name of the award, the name of the project, where you got the award from. So in this case, it was Best Actress, God's Country, Pocono Mountain Film Festival. And then this one was Doonby Film Advisory Board. Up on the feature film line, underneath the feature films that are short films, I put parentheses and wrote short. And if that film won an award, like Stained, I put award-winning film. And like Frost Nixon and Alone Yet Not Alone, I put 3 asterisks. And down at the bottom it says Oscar-nominated film. Frost Nixon, Alone Yet Not Alone. So it allows the audience to know what the awards were for. Okay? Does that make sense? Great. All right, so moving on. Ba-doop, 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 ba-doop. All right, that's me trying to make it fun and snappy. All right, so next is television. So television, what I've done is bolded and underlined my subject headings. Feature film, television, theater, training, skills. And so under television, you put the name of the TV show. And I've worked on a few pilots. So in parentheses, I write pilot. So television, the name of the TV show. Again, that same tab, that same alignment, the name of the role. And then the network on where that show is being seen. ABC, NBC, Fox, Sci-Fi. Or if it's independent, just write it's independent and that it's currently being pitched to networks or currently being pitched for a web series. Web series can go under here as well if they're being positioned as a television show. They're called series regular, recurring, guest star, co-star. And then if you have a non-speaking role and your face just shows, then it would be considered featured or possibly co-star, depends on how that role was being billed and negotiated. So that's there, and again, don't put the name of the character. So a series regular character is a character that is in every single show. They're a part of that main cast. A recurring character is a character that it comes out maybe like 1 or so episodes. So say it's a TV show and there's a maid. You know, that's their housekeeper. But that housekeeper is only shown maybe like 1 or 5 or 6 episodes. But they're consistent. That would be considered recurring. Guest star is a character that only shows for 1 or 2 of the episodes. Their character has a beginning, middle, and an end, and basically starts the show and then ends the show within that episode. Sometimes, if the audience likes the guest star so much, the writers can write that into a recurring role. A co-star is a character who comes in and just says 1 line, or it's also called under 5. They may come in and they may be the waitress. Hi, how are you? Here you go. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Here you go. Or they might be the cash register attendee when someone comes up. Oh, thank you. I'll take that from you. Those are considered co-star roles, and they're fantastic for your resume and building your credits. All right, next is theater. Theater. Again, the name of the play in complete caps, and then you're going to list the name of your character here. So say if you're in the play Harvey, and you play the character Myrtle May. She's a lead. You could write lead. And then I would put / Myrtle May, so people know, one, that it's a lead character if they're not familiar with the play, and they now know what character you're playing, since plays are very common. And then you're going to put the name of the production right here. For me, I have Walt Disney World, and then I have parades, and what else do I have? Parades and improv, because that was my role down in Walt Disney World. I was a dancer in the parades, and I did a lot of improv as the characters. And then I wrote the location, Walt Disney World, Florida. In theater, it's important that you list the city the theater is in. So you've got the name, the role, but right here, so I have got Allentown and then New Hope, Pennsylvania. That allows people, if you're in California, to go, oh, this was local theater in Pennsylvania. Oh, this was local theater in Tennessee. If you don't list a theater location and you live in Los Angeles, it will be assumed it's from Los Angeles. If you don't write a theater location and you live in Atlanta, it'll be assumed that it's in Atlanta. So please include the state or the city where you're at. Okay, now we go into training. Again, your caps. And then you're going to bold the name of the studio or school you trained at. And then you're going to list what you studied or what program you were a part of. And I've got the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts, and I put New York City. And then I put the Joanne Baer and D.W. Brown Studio, and I put L.A., and then I put the programs that I studied with them there. And so that's how you'll go about listing your training. So if you studied at a school, you could list that, or say you just studied with a teacher. You could list that and then list what they trained you in that field. So you're going to want to include that so the people you're auditioning for can understand where your skill sets may range and how long you may have trained. The next is skills, and you're going to write any skill that you can do. If someone called you up right now and said, "Hey, Joe Blow, would you like to come work on this movie, and can you do this?" That right now you can do that. So if you say that you can horseback ride, if they cast you, that next day you've got to be ready to horseback ride. They say that you can play the fiddle. That next day you better be able to know how to play the fiddle. So only write down skills that you are excellent at. So I've got softball, kickboxing, gun skills if you could handle a gun, sand volleyball, golf, rollerblading, horseback riding, indoor rock gym, snowmobile. Okay, Disney princesses. I've done Disney princesses for a while, so sometimes people cast specifically looking for that. A lot of times skills are cast specifically for commercials. And so when you have your skills listed, when people are casting for commercials, they'll literally type in on an online database the skill they're looking for. We're looking for someone to play piano. And then they'll type that in, and then every actor that fits that demographic they're looking for, that who can play piano, they all come up, and then based on your photo, your headshot, they'll decide who they would like to cast or to audition for that role. So special skills are very important. You're also going to want to list if you have a passport, and if you can drive a boat, if you could drive a car, if you know how to drive stick shift. All of this helps in the casting process. Put down your social media, what your handle is. And if you haven't had a social media, we'll be talking about that later. For me, it's at Jenn Gotzon, and that's consistent with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. So you want to keep it consistent. So I have at Jenn Gotzon. Then I have my stats on measurements and weight and size. And then you're going to write your union affiliations. If you're Screen Actors Guild, or if you're financial core, and I'll talk about that on another session. Or if you're non-union, then you don't write anything. If you're non-union, do not write anything, just leave it blank. But if you're Screen Actors Guild, you can write SAG, S-A-G. And then I have a link to my website where they could see my demo reel. All of that is for the resume. Now you're going to print those off, and on your printer, you're going to want to make sure that this information is shrunk to be able to fit on an 8x10. So when you go to print, you're going to hit print, and then you're going to see the size of it, and it's going to ask if you can print it as is, but go to the place where you can proportion it and scale it down. Scale it to be about 95%, hit OK, and print it, and it'll be small enough that you can cut it with a paper cutter to be 8x10 to then staple on the back of your headshot. All right, those are some tips on building a resume for paper, and then that also gets translated on over for online submission houses. I'm Jenn Gotzon. Connect with me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Jenn Gotzon. Thanks and God bless.